So this week we're passing the guard, and the first thing I want to talk about is posture. For most guard passing, especially in the beginning of your career, posture is going to be a really big piece of how to begin to pass the legs, because his legs aren't down here, and my problem is his legs. I have to get out from between his legs. So please don't, when you spar, try to tap out this person if their legs are around you. You really do have one goal. You have one goal when you're in here. You do and I do. I mean, your whole jiu-jitsu career, it doesn't get easier to tap somebody out from inside guard. There's not like a lot of tricks you'll learn later. If you're in the guard, you have to pass the guard, okay? And posture back here where his legs are, and hopefully out of reach of submissions and trying to choke me or reach for my arm or do omoplata or triangle. Up here I'm safer. So that's the reason to start from up here, in addition to you're closer to your targets, which is getting around his legs, okay? We're going to start by talking about head posture. If he grabs my head and he pulls it down to his body and holds it down, it's going to be much harder for me to get back there and get my posture and start passing the legs. I have to put my arms behind myself, and that's sort of compromised and not strong. So this is a problem when he holds my head. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to show you is early. If I was low enough he could reach for my head, I want to be able to catch those and move those away. That goes for when he grabs everything. We talk about collars and everything else too. And I'm going to do that from the outside in, because I'm sneaking up on his hand. If I meet his hand like thumb to thumb, he can grab me, I can grab him, and it's a little more even. When I sneak up behind his hand, like at the pinky side, it's harder for him to grab me back. Certainly not well, and I can use the other hand at that point. So outside in clearing of grips, so when he reaches for my head, yeah. And the other thing I can do when I do this is keep an arm on him, and now it's like, now I've taken away one of his limbs and I can start to work in some ways we'll talk about. If he successfully holds my head down, and bring your elbow to your sides and really hold my head down, okay? Yeah. So this is wet dog. Wet dog is when I try to reach inside, block his shoulder girdle, and then I shake and I back up. So if he's got my head, I want to reach inside, keep his upper body where it is, and then I'm going to shake side to side while I back up. And you can shake your shoulders too, so you're like a wet dog. And that's a really good way, very hard to hold on to somebody's head when they do this. You know when a cat takes a bath, it licks its paws and then it does this, it clears its ears this way, cleans its ears this way. We're going to clear our head this way, back to front, back to front. You shouldn't have to reach too much away from your body to do this. You can just reach up and do this and clear the hands off this way. So hold my head down, you can get whatever grip you want, like nice and tight, yeah. And I'm going to clear like this. For cat ears, sometimes there's the mistake, and people think I'm doing this, but that's not as much. That's pulling, and my elbows are away from my body, and pulling isn't as strong as pushing. So for cat ears, we do want to be pushing. So get behind the obstacle and push it off instead of getting in front and pulling it. This will be less effective. There is one other way that sometimes people will hold your head down, and that is not with a symmetrical hand grip, but with an asymmetrical, like forearm grip. So if he gets his forearm deep over my head, and this is a pretty powerful one, and he holds on over here, latches it in, and holds me down. But the escape again is this is the vulnerable point. It's the elbow that I'm going to clear, and that is very similar to the cat ears thing. I'm reaching behind and I'm pushing the obstacle forward. So if somebody gets you, in a deep, this is an MMA-like strategy, get you in this very deep, like forearm type, almost upside down headlock grip. But the elbow is the way out, and same thing, we want to get our hand behind and push forward. The other way somebody can try to pull me down, if I'm wearing a gi, he may opt to grab onto my lapels. So pull me all the way down. Yeah. So I don't want to get broken down by collar grips either, not one, not two, and we'll handle it the same, so we might as well do two. So he's going to go ahead, he grabs both. So the first one I'm going to show you guys is to roll the pinky. It's from the outside in. Roll the pinky over from the outside in. He gets solid grip as he wants on my collar, and he starts pulling, especially when he pulls because he puts tension on his own grip. I'm going to roll from the outside in. I'm not trying to wrist lock him. I'm not bending his fingers around, nothing like that. It's just that when I turn his grip over, and I'll be able to, his hand will open this way off the grip. It's just uncomfortable to continue to try to pull the collar. So he's got his grips It won't work if I start on the middle finger knuckle. I do have to find the pinky meat, right? The hypothenar eminence. That's right. So I have to find the pinky meat. So I'm going to find that with the palm of my hand, heel of my hand, and I'm going to roll it toward the center. I'm going to do the same with this one. No one said you had to let go of it either. I have a grip of his hands now that he's got to worry about breaking, right? And as he's doing that, I can be working maybe on start working on my guard break. So let's say he gets a nice jujitsu grip inside my collar, like this. Not as easy to roll his hand over. But what I'm going to do is, every time he gets a grip on this side, I'm going to reach over this side, and I'm also going to grab his collar. It limits the depth that his hand can have, and I also can do a move where, since I've pinned sort of his bicep down when I grab his collar, is that I can kind of just get a little grip on his hand and get postured. He has a grip on my collar now, but he doesn't have the first half of a choke. As he puts his hand in, if I reach over and I get the same side collar grip on him, you can see now that I'm pinning his bicep down, and just a grip, not because I'm going to use this in a major way, but just a little grip here too. I'm pushing down with this, and then I'm getting posture here. He still has a grip on my collar, but it's not a choke threat. If he grabs the same side collar and he starts to pull me down here, I can support his hand with the two heels of my hands. I'm going to posture up and back while his hand goes up and forward to break that grip, and I can maintain it again. Every grip I break, I like to turn into a grip I have. I'm going to put two hands underneath his hand, and I'm going to pop it up at a 45. That's just a good way to break even a good grip off. I'm going to support it with the heels of my hand, put this underneath, yep, just like this. And I'm going to make sure, you do want to make sure that there's not a lot of slack. So if I do it here, there's going to be a lot of slack. So I sit back, I put the slack, right? And now I'll hold on, but I do have mostly this support. And then I back me up while I pop his hand off kind of at 45 degrees. A good 2-on-1 break from a standard grip. I'm going to let him get two collars, and I'm going to try and keep my posture. And if he pulls, eventually he's going to get me down. Eventually he's going to get me down if I don't use my hands. So this is the challenge, is I don't use my hands. I don't create kickstands of any kind. I'm just going to try and stay up here, but he's going to be able to pull me down, okay? I'm going to change two major things. I'm going to take my knees from outside of his hips, totally outside of his hips. Usually we do this, we sidle up real close. A wide base, you would think is good. I mean, he can use his legs and sort of throw me side to side. So a wide base is something we think is good. But with a wide base, pull me down with no hands. I go like immediately. Okay. So here's the first thing I'm going to change. I'm going to just move my knees from outside of him just to his sits bones, just outside of his sits bones, in the sort of butt dimples, right? That's like where I have my knees now, is there. And I'm going to do one more thing, which is I'm going to tuck my pelvis under. So there's like a J-Lo and there's Urkel, okay? So like J-Lo, Urkel, right? So I want to do Urkel. So I'm gonna change where my knees are, and I'm gonna do Urkel. So I have posteriorly tilted my hips. Okay, I'm gonna keep it straight back as much as I can, look straight ahead, and when he pulls me down now, it should be much harder to pull me down. I'm not using my hands to stop him. It's a stronger body posture. Partially because I have kickstands in front of me now through my legs, right? They're in front of me instead of facing kind of the wrong way. It's the right way if he was going side to side. But if you're dealing with someone who's pulling down, now I want my kickstands facing forward. So that's kind of what the knees do. They also keep him a little further from me. I'm just closer when I'm here than when I'm here. I'm backed up a little bit. And now I have I'm doing Urkel. And then I keep my posture, look straight ahead, and he can grab my collars. But he's just going to be pulling himself around, not me. Right? So it's just a body posture. It's kind of an invisible jujitsu type thing. Pedro Sauer was just talking about it at the last seminar I saw him at. So I'm going to do a standard kneeling guard pass. Sometimes I'll call this a single under stack pass. I'm going to put one arm under and stack him up. You'll see what that means. When I'm in the guard, I don't even look down. Even looking down is going to be the beginning of my spine bending, and I don't want to get broken down. Don't even look at your person. Posture's here, so my neck is straight. My hands are holding the lapel on their own side. That's so they don't get dragged across. When it's time to go, I'm going to put them both in one hand, turn it, and I like to plant the heel of my hand here. I'm going to put my hand on his hip bone because I don't want his hips coming up in the air. It does make things harder. So I would say when you start, first get your posture and your grips. Grips and posture. From here, then I switch to these grips. That means I'm ready to go. Now, phase 2, stepping my foot up. I'm not just going to step my foot up. I'm going to open my knee of the leg I'm going to step it up, and then center the other one. Center the other one on his spine. I'm trying to get myself as far from him as possible. I just put a wedge in to keep me further away. And now I can swing my big toe out and rotate right over my foot. There was never a moment where my foot left the ground. So when I say phase 2 is step up, if I just do this, that's stepping up. There's a lot of things that I'm not doing if I skip all those details. So I'm going to make sure that we do all those details. Grips and posture. Get ready to go. Now, to step the foot up, step out, center, and don't lift your foot up. There's a moment you're off balance. Instead, swing your toe out, toe goes out, and then I rotate over my toe. My toe is the hinge. And I turn sideways to mat. So if he pushes and pulls or whatever he does, when I'm sideways, I have a really pretty good balance here. And now it's time to pass. Phase 3, I'm going to switch to one lapel. One lapel. I'm going to put my hand in, palm toward me. It's going to come in here, but I never put my hand in alone, always joined by my other elbow. And the reason is if I put my hand in, he'll triangle me. Good. And if I put my hand and my elbow in and he goes to triangle me, he has 0 arms. So that's not a recipe for a triangle. So to stack him up, phase 3, my hand goes inside and my elbow goes inside. You notice I'm pulling him a little bit. Sometimes people are going to try to get away that way. This is what this is really good for the rest of the move. So I keep him near me. Maybe I even fold him up. And I want to get this leg onto my shoulder. The legs might not, though, even have broken yet. If they don't break, you can do 2 things. You can grab your shin and walk your foot away. That'll break them open. Or you can put your hand on the ground, put your knee back down, and back away. Both open his legs. Again, never forgetting and leaving this elbow inside. It's always outside. Once the legs break open, I'm going to push this leg down, and it makes the other one come up onto my shoulder. Lifting this onto my shoulder is hard if he wants it to be. But if I push this down, it slides right up because I'm giving him the splits, basically. And now I'm going to stack him up, which is the end of the move. Grips and posture, and then get ready to go, which is 1, 2. Okay. Phase 1 complete. Now, to step up, I open, center, swipe, and then lift my knee and turn sideways. And I've already let go to start phase 3, which is getting his leg stacked up on my shoulder. I'm going to put my hand in, but also my elbow, and I'm going to kind of hey bub. I'm going to kind of hey bub him here. This goes inside. I'd love if I could just throw his leg on my shoulder. Sometimes they're still crossed, and I have 1, 2 solutions to that. But at some point they'll open, yep. And I want this on my shoulder. Hard to lift, easy just to push its body down. And then it comes right up. And now I've got the leg on my shoulder. I'm ready to finish. I'd like you guys to get all the way up to leg on the shoulder. And now I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. I'm going to drive forward, bringing his knee past his nose, the center of his face, to past his forehead. But I'm also going to move around him. So I'm going to move around a point that's shifting forward, okay? Because right now I'm moving around his leg at his hip. But ultimately my chest is going to be over his chest. So I have to go up, a couple feet. So I'm going to drive forward first. If I come around and then I try to drive forward, I'm driving sideways. I'm going to drive forward first. And you notice I came onto my toes. And now I'm heavy on his leg, on his chest. And now that I shifted the point, now I can come around it. You notice I grab his lapel with the other hand as well. Now I can come around. I still want his knee coming past his face. And to let it pass, mercifully, I open my chest up a little bit like I'm skydiving or like Superman. Proud chest lets his leg brush by me. Once his leg is on my shoulder, again, I am walking around his leg, but first I want to shift the point that I'm circling up to his chest. So I'm here. Don't reach like this. Sometimes people say to grab the far shoulder, but my elbow's away from my body, I'm less secure. So I wrap right over his leg and I hold this material right here. Chop and grab and drive. Drive forward. All my weight drove forward. I'm on his leg, on his chest now. And I can start climbing this material if you want. But now that I shifted the point I'm going around, I walk around, keep bringing his knee up, and now proud chest, just to let his leg brush by me. And I'd like us to finish with my elbow at the far side of his head, and my hand next to his hip. That guards against an elbow escape. The opposite of what we want is perfectly straight spine, and I want to curl it. And I'd like to curl it from both ends. So this hand that has the lapel, I pull on it. So that curls up one side of her spine. So I do have a pull here. And when I drive on this side, I'm trying to get the other side to come up, like her butt to come off the ground. Okay? So that's when we're stacking somebody, you want to take what they might like to be a straight spine, and you want to curl it from both ends. From this end by pulling here, and from this end by driving in really until the sacrum comes off the ground. So we fold the spine kind of from that end and from this end, and now it's so much more uncomfortable, even for a flexible opponent, that it's a successful pass. The pass that we're working on can be way easier. So if I'm in his guard and I'm like, okay, what are all the steps? And his leg's open. Okay. This can be a lot shorter if he just opens his legs for me, okay? We have every step I gave you has a reason, and it assumes the person giving you the most resistance. But if I start setting up and his leg's open, I'm just gonna go here. I'm just gonna swim under his leg, it's open. And if I can lift it on my shoulder, I will. If I have trouble, I'll push the other one down. But I just skipped like 8 steps, right? Because all those little steps to keep my posture aren't necessary because he opened his legs. So this got real easy. And then I can finish the same way. Maybe he'll open his legs, while I'm doing this, right? And then, like keep some tension on me so it feels like they're crossed. Yeah, this is good. It feels like they're crossed to me. And I just waste my time. I'm doing all this stuff and I get all the way to here and I'm like, oh, they're open. Yeah. We talked with the 2 lapels about I don't want to get my 2 arms dragged to one side. Well, I don't have 2 lapels to hold on to here, so if he starts dragging my arm across, I need to have sort of an answer to deal with that so I don't show him my back. So I'm gonna have my hands about at his floating ribs, but my fingers on the outside. It'll slow him down if he starts dragging my hand across. Slow him down, maybe not stop him, but if he does bring my hand past my fingers, so go ahead. At least I have a warning and I can drop my elbow so that I don't get the whole arm dragged across, okay? So that's what we're doing with our hands. I'm also going to have posture like I did before, and these things are the same. Open, center, swipe, turn my knee to the ceiling, okay? And then from here, hand and elbow both go inside, and I still need to break the legs open. I can put my hand on the floor to back away from it, or I can grab my shin and back away from it to open the legs. And now I can push his leg down and get this on my shoulder. Same in most respects so far. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to karate chop here, palm down, chop his leg, and gable grip here. I want to hide this elbow. It's just too easy when things are slick to pull this arm through for him to catch a triangle. So I'm going to get this grip here and bring my elbow to my ribs. It's just well hidden here. And from here, to finish the pass, for the stack, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lift up a little bit of his leg meat here, lift up some quad, so that this hand can wrap real close to his hip bone. So from this nice wrap, I lift this a little meat up, grab the quad right near the hip bone, and the other hand's going to reach for the neck on the same side. So I don't like to reach across. It opens my elbow up more. I want to reach straight down the alley here for his neck. And again, I'm going to be moving in a circle around a point that I have to move. So I don't want to walk in a circle around the point I'm in. I want to end up on his chest, so I have to get up to there. So I drive in until my chest is over his chest. Then I can walk around here, and I'm gonna, same thing, proud chest, let his leg pass, and end up in side control. So the difference in this pass is mostly in the last part, in how I stack him. So I'm here, open, center, swipe, turn. From here, I bring my hands in, I open the legs, push one down to get the other up, but now this is different. Chop, gable, and this is a position you actually can pause in. I can watch a guy squirm here and finish my pass when he's most vulnerable. Now I'm gonna lift a little bit of his quad so I can get a grip at the hip, and this one comes straight down on the near side of his neck, and this moving around a point, it has to be the point of like my chest over his chest. So I'm gonna drive forward first, and then I'm going to go around that point. Guard is a test of discipline because you're really, really going to want to do lots of things that aren't the one thing that you know you need to do and that you know that they know that you need to do, which is get posture and pass the legs. Right? For the first long time you do jiu-jitsu, you're going to be super tempted. You're going to be like, well, I don't know, it looks like an Americana. Like, I'm going to lean on it. I'm going to go. Or, I can't get my posture anyway. I'm just going to smash this guy. I'm just going to drive in. But Matt, are you dying yet?
No, I'm quite comfortable.
It's fine. The guy's laying there. He's just you're wasting energy, and his energy meter's right here, and you're doing this. Okay? So it's a test of discipline. Can you stick to your game plan? Your game plan can't be anything else but this through black belt. Get your posture past the legs, right? So, yes, there's going to be fights over my posture. He's going to be trying to pull me down. All sorts of stuff's going to happen. That's why I give you guys tools to, but he's pulling me down. I have like grip strips. I have all sorts of stuff to get him off me, right? We worked on that the other day. But this is the fight I have to enter, even if he knows it. So you're not going to out-strategize him by thinking of something else to do, and you're not going to smash him. And you're definitely not going to submit him. So guard really is a test of discipline. So get posture and then start, this or another pass that we're going to work on. But passing the legs is the only thing you can do in the guard. And I'm just going to remind you that only because I really do see when people roll, they forget this immediately. That the people in their first year or two, just forget, and they get really caught up in okay, well, I don't know, man. I'm going to smash him. What if I lean this on his throat? That's good for me, right? Push it across. Okay, now he has my back. So no, it's not good. It's not good to drive in. The plan is get out of his legs. So I'm just being emphatic.